button, and then this, and then clicking that, and then moving that over to this, and then there. Cool. Now you should be able to see my screen, and we are also live streaming. What's up? Mollie Coons, who I haven't talked to in, God, far too long.
I think it's been like 5 years.
Jesus, way too long.
No.
Don't say it out loud, it sounds worse.
The truth.
So, OG graphic designer, re-envisioner of the Fuck Apathy logo, which we'll jump into you at a later date, which we will go into. Yeah, so, all right, so lots of context. So stickies on the wall behind me are basically a map of a nonlinear story. The nonlinear story, which lives within Mythos, which is kind of like a hybrid between Wikipedia and Medium, and the live stream that we're doing now, which is kind of like a podcast talk show / catching up with friends while writing together thing.
Okay.
There's some layers.
That's cool. There's been layers with you since day one, friend.
Well, now I have technology to make sense of me, and attract others that are of resonance. So, few things. Been working on Spiritual Bro and stuff within that. Spiritual Bro, the mission is to elevate the human frequency. We're doing that in a bunch of different ways. One of which. My favorite is because we just got the it's like the mock-up for the UI, but you know, like Grammarly.
Ooh. Yeah, I know Grammarly.
So we're making Spiritual Bro, which is a clone of Grammarly, except instead of correcting your grammar, it corrects your spirit. So if you say I need, it'll be like, do you mean I soon will have? And then it replaces it.
That's really cool, actually.
So Fuck Apathy kind of fits within that. I was mentioning that I hired 3 web designers. One I have a project for, the other 2 I'm not sure. And Fuck Apathy was kind of on my list of like, let's see how your conceptual skills are.
Yeah, right on.
Because like I look at people's. Do you know Webflow at all? Have you learned that yet?
No.
Okay. 45 minutes of tutorials, and I was like, why did I get a good degree again?
God, every single time I open like Toots Plus or Toots.com, I'm like, why did I go to school for this again? .com subscription would have been so much cheaper.
Yeah, and even Linda now it's just YouTube. But yeah. Anyways, yay Champlain. Oh, I thought you were wearing a Champlain shirt for a second there. I was gonna lose my shit. So you said in your email of Fuck Apathy, which I was just responding to. So you said platform for conversation about the relationship between fear and complacency. So I very quickly, so Ascent of Humanity is a book I've been reading. It's fucking mind-boggling. I love it.
Okay.
I just learned this morning that that's called a quake book, which shakes your very foundations of what you understand to be true. I like that term. And Ascent of Humanity is openly available on the web because he made it freely available, which is kind of the ethos of the book.
Nice.
So I did a site search for fear and found this quote: conversely, fear of death blocks love by shutting us down and making us small.
Yeah.
And so I was like, copy, and then I was like, paste, and then I was like, quote, Charles Eisenstein.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about it this morning because I was having something stupid was going down, and it was just like I found myself not being able to speak up, and I was just like, I just said out loud in the gym, I was like, fuck apathy, and then I was like, wait a minute, this was a project.
That's amazing. Someone else messaged me this morning being like, you came up in a meditation, and then 20 minutes later Facebook suggested you as a person. And what I've been realizing is that the more you listen, the more it speaks to you. And a lot those instances have been compounding where someone's just it's literally like as I'm like building something, I envision it as like I'm in an operating room and I just hold out my hand, and then like something ends up there, like what I needed.
Mine is there's like just some grumpy librarian behind a curtain, and whenever I need something, she just is like throws it at me.
It's like a. Are you familiar with the term tulpa?
No.
There's actually a subreddit for tulpas. Oh, I don't have that one in here yet. So a tulpa is like a concept in mysticism and the paranormal, in which a being is created through spiritual or mental powers. So basically, it's like an imaginary friend, an intentionally curated imaginary friend.
Cool.
Intelligent companions imagined into existence. Love that. So it's kind of like having a tulpa for the universe, where you like manufacture a representation of a being that exists beyond time and light.
I like that.
Yeah. So, whoops. So yeah, glad that triggered. So then, yeah, I mean, the question is just like, I think it's like how to get a bunch of people to align with it and explain that it's about authentic expression. So Fuck Apathy is like it's a reminder to embrace authentic expression.
I think there's an authentic expression piece for sure, and I think you're right about that. That kind of being like the cornerstone. But I almost want to say that there should be like some type of educational aspect to it too, because like people have a hard time figuring out where to start thinking about these things. And I've run into this conversation with folks all the time, and it spans across like the age gaps too, of like, okay, so you want to start, embracing self-love and self-care, but like there's no roadmap for somebody to start thinking about it. And like one thing I've noticed from now 4 years in project management is people love being told what to do, and then like a subset of those people like need to be told what to do, or like need to be given a key, or like need to be shown the door, and then they can figure it out from there.
That's funny. I have the reading that I'm doing right now is all that, and so it's like my reading keeps going backwards, so I keep reading things that are older. And now I'm reading the Vedic texts. Okay. I mean, go as far back as you can, right? And so like reading the Upanishads, and like the Upanishads is just, it's like we are all one. It's like, oh, cool. Like someone was saying that in 1500 BC. Like, great, And, you go back before all this bullshit emerged, which is like the noise, and you're like, oh, cool, like the stuff that people have been saying for ages as truisms, like was said in 1500 BC before all this other shit existed. So education for sure, and I definitely hear that, and I think you would really enjoy the Ascent of Humanity, because it talks a lot about how people are so lost within the matrix of their thinking.
Oh my God, yeah, tell me about it. And like once you see the matrix, you can never unsee it. You see it everywhere.
And I'm now gonna have a list of things that I'm gonna be sending you at the end of this. But one of the first things,
and you should check out. It's another one of those like free PDF publications. It's I forget who the author is, but the book is The Undercommons.
What is it about?
It's about societal structures and how like humanity ends up sort of like embracing and becoming societal structures, and we end up like applying it to our day-to-day lives. So they use capitalism as an example, and like sort of overarching where I'm at now in it is that people have embodied the values of capitalism and applied them to the self. So it's like, I'm only worth what I create.
Yep. So Ascent of Humanity, that actually the chapter that I'm on right now, um, is so it talks about natural capital is like was a few chapters ago, and how we should stop calling it natural resources, because resources implies that the earth exists as a tool to be harvested and used for humanity. But in reality, the earth existed long before humanity did, and has no care of it. And so he talks about natural capital, but he also talks about spiritual capital, which is what I'm on right now. Actually, I think I'm at the end of the crisis of capital. But yeah, so spiritual capital, it prompted this, which is that like contemporary parties are all about co-consumption and joint consumption. Food, drink, drugs, sports, entertainment.
Be careful, that's like almost socialism.
Well, and so he's like, joint consumption only passes the time by painlessly covering up lack and leaves us feeling empty. The significance of the superficiality of our social leisure becomes apparent when we contrast that sort of fun with a very different activity, play.
Oh my gosh, yes. And like, I feel like we could bring that into the fuck apathy thing too, because creativity cannot exist unless there's some type of play. And by play, I mean a relaxing exploration with no expectations.
So I love that definition, and here is why I sent you the "Hey, are you available for a chat?" message. Okay, cool. Make sure we're not broken. So first of all, I bought the domain Brian.bot because it's hilarious.
I have dyslexia, and I thought that said brainbot. I was like, what are you doing?
I mean, I think this says brain because that's my nickname, because they spelled my name wrong on a name tag, so I just added a numla and introduced myself to like 300 people at this week-long intimate conference. So there's a section of like internet people that refer to me as Brain, because we all met like at that conference, and it just kind of perpetuated. Fucking name tag. So anyway, so there are 1.2 million Brians. It's the 29th most popular name. And I was like, fuck it, I want Brian bot. So after like a year, I just finally broke down and bought it. Nice. What's interesting is the way that I've set it up, because it's the domain, right, and I'm building out the site, but so it's just a chat window, and it on the back end of that is AI. And what happens is it's using Google's AI, which is called Dialogflow. And so if Dialogflow doesn't know how to, if the AI has not been trained to answer to something, then it will basically pass that through into Slack. So if I say, or if someone says like, you are magical, he doesn't know how to respond to that yet. So then it pops up over here. It'll say your free pro trial has ended. Wow, that was within the last hour. Anyway, okay. So, but you just go over here and you say like, create new intent. And so the intent is you are magical. And then you say your response text, and then you type what you want it to respond. So like I would respond with like something simple, like thank you, right? And then I hit send, and it sends that message to that user, and it trains the AI.
That's cool.
So the AI is trained entirely through conversation and entirely within Slack. So the email that you sent me made me think that the way that the AI trained is based on two factors: intent and response. And so if we collectively explained what fuck apathy was, and then defined, so we basically had people submit intent and submit response to intent. So like when people tell me, if they start a sentence to me like with "I'm worried," if like a friend tells me like "I'm worried," the first thing that comes to mind is
I love Alan Watts.
Is this 3-minute like how to never, or I think it's this one or it's another one, but it was like, it's a 4-minute Alan Watts video.
So then let's consider first of all, what is a mind in the grip of vicious circles.
I remember listening to this like late at night and just being like, why the fuck did I ever worry? And so if a friend says like, I'm worried, I don't really care what follows it, because this is the first thing that came to my mind. It might not be helpful for them, but it is the first thing that came to mind. And so having a website where people can submit intents and response to those intents, like, that's a
cool idea, to like aggregate positive resources, or like inspiration, like positive hold on, this is sounding dumb. Resources that have the ability to change one's thinking.
Yeah. And have them be conversationally triggered and curated by community. Yeah, collectively trained. And so you remember Taybot, the AI that Microsoft made to talk to Twitter, and it became racist within like a day?
Yes.
So my thought is that we have like some like a Reddit-like functionality where people submit an intent and a response to the intent. So it's basically like a subreddit, where someone makes a submission. The submission includes an intent, which we have to teach people how to say that. So if it says like, I'm worried that ... You're like, cool. Anyone that starts a statement with I'm worried that.
Yeah, you could set it up as a series of drop downs too.
Right, like starts with, ends with, includes.
And then at the end, it's just like, they can put like the topic. So it's like, I'm scared that blank will happen tomorrow, or next year, to me or to my mom or to my dad, or like whatever.
Yeah, and if we can, some kind of simple user interface that allows people to do like a minimalist way of teaching people Boolean, essentially. I mean, I'm sure that the people who are going to see this are largely going to know what Boolean is, but just because UI is pretty and UX is amazing. So
I've started to go down that path. It's so much fun.
Nice. So they submit that, and then it goes into a list, and then the list is voted on by each user, and if it passes a threshold, whatever the threshold is, then it gets added into the bot and becomes a part of its language. So, okay, I fucking love all of that. That is perfect. Now the question is, how do we build it as strategically shitty as possible?
What?
Oh, yeah. This is another one. I own strategicallyshitty.com. Just as a reminder to always build things as poorly as possible.
Strategically shitty. That's awesome. I have a t-shirt that says good enough sucks, and that's kind of like my gate check.
Yep. I like that one. I might need to have a picture of that on here. Yeah, so anyway, so
cool.
Submission form with some kind of, like a glorified submission form with some kind of UX or UI UX explanation of what Fuck Apathy stands for, which is authentic expression. We facilitate authentic expression by educating
through insightful conversation.
Through co-created insightful conversation. So
I like that.
So we facilitate by co-creating, and then the project that we're co-creating on extends the resonance of the community, which is an AI chatbot.
I don't know if you necessarily want to like cover it in like woo-woo terms, because that'll turn a lot of people off.
I mean, we can depending on how people come in, we can explain it in different ways. Like it's funny because like the thing that's the most effective to explain who I am at this point in my life, you know, like this is my like core of everything. I'm like, oh, entrepreneur, marketer, blah, blah, blah. Here's the projects, you know, made this, yada, yada, known in this press, blah, blah, blah. But the thing that I see as being the most effective is I'm a meticulously ridiculous spiritual entertainer and contemporary artist.
That's fun to say.
It is fun, but like it sounds crazy and fluffy until you get to know me and you're like, oh, That's actually the perfectly cogent synopsis.
Yeah, no, totally. It 100% is.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then it's a matter of just playing with the language and making sure the copy's right and putting it onto
I'm gonna think about this for the next probably 3 days. Do you want to just like, in terms of next steps, do you want to put together like a couple ideas for a mission statement and see what your boy can do for some UI UX stuff?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, honestly, it's like white header, black middle, white bar with a couple of drop downs, and that's it.
Simplicity. I'm trying to think of like the call to action is the brand name, which is Fuck Apathy. The purpose, so call to action, Fuck Apathy. What does that mean? Authentic expression. That's what we stand for. So you can just know the terminology and go with it. And you can also share, contribute your tools for authentic expression by helping us to. It's a collection of resources for shedding
self-doubt.
Yeah, self-doubt, false realities.
Fear.
External, say false constructs.
Ooh, I like that. That's kind of what fear is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fear, anxiety, a lot of things. A collection of mental models / tools for shedding. Epic.
Here's your UI.
Wait, hold on, let me make you super big so that the world can see. Yeah, get bigger. Nope. Nope, this is as big as you go. Great. So the drop downs like think, feel, am.
Yeah, it's like all of, I think it's probably going to be like 20 like fear words. I'm worried, I'm scared, I'm anxious, I'd
almost be curious to leave it open and see what people come up with, because I mean that's just one example. If someone says I'm worried, and then you can do the different versions of that. But I mean, push it to the crowd. I feel like people are going to be like, oh, you know, this Boolean factor is exactly the structure of the language that I used the last 7 times I broke up with someone. I don't know.
Just like look at a bunch of Adele songs.
I mean, actually, yeah. I used to joke, but it's actually kind of true, is that I can map I can map where my relationship should have ended based on when one or both of us started watching a show that we watched together separately. So when my ex was away at work and I watched an episode of the show and I got an episode ahead, and looking back, looking back it was at that point that I should have just broken up with her, and I think we kept dating for like 6 months.
It's too funny. Anyway, I have to scoot. I've got a meeting to hop into in about 5 minutes.
All right.
Let's definitely keep this conversation rolling.
Yeah, let's do the stuff and the things. High five on a very productive and awesome 22-minute live stream.
Sweet. Yeah, because I am so angry about this every single day that I have to deal with people, and I feel like I have to do something, and I don't know what that is, but
the answer is
Fuck Apathy keeps coming to mind.
The answer is creation.
The answer is fuck apathy.
Well, that you fuck apathy by creating.
Anyway,
all right, I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for the chat.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Mollie Coons, who I will have her thing linked shortly. I really need to write my weekly email so that I can get to yoga on time. Distractions.